All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use your watercolor set to create color value, which is basically the lightness to darkness that you can achieve with a color. I'm also going to talk about how you can mix your own colors as well as create your own black, because what you'll notice is that the watercolor set that you got doesn't have black in it. And it also has another little challenge for you. It is a glitter watercolor set. So I'm just going to give you some tips on how you can use this and achieve the colors that you want. So I'm going to first go ahead and just talk about how you can use this color set to mix your own colors. So we do have a color that looks like magenta, so you can make a swatch of that. This is it. You don't have to do the color wheel, but I think it's good to kind of learn what your watercolor set is capable of. So it's always good to kind of experiment with the colors that you have. So I'm just doing a little quick exploration of the color mixing to see what they can do. So I'm going to go ahead and do blue and red together. And I'm actually just going to go straight onto my paper. I'm not going to be too technical about it. Of course, I'm washing my brush, tapping the water off of my brush so I can kind of control what's happening. So what you'll see here is when you're mixing with certain reds and blues, sometimes you don't really get that vibrant purple that you're looking for, but your kit comes with purple. But maybe you're looking for more like a maroon or like a more of a moody gray purple. Then you can kind of mix your own. There you go. This does make a nice little green. Does make a nice orange as well. So I always encourage my students to try to mix their own colors because I think it just helps you get a better understanding of how to use your watercolors. But feel free to use the orange that's in your kit. There you go. So one other challenge you have here is that you don't have a black. And so often painters will create their own black using what they got. And that might involve using complementary colors, which are blues and oranges, or red and greens together, or purples and yellows. So let's go ahead and experiment with what happens when I'm using some reds and some greens. And I'm doing this straight on my paper. You can use your palette that comes with your watercolor set, just the lid, which is fine too. So you're just trying to find a balance where it's not leaning towards one color. Like here, it looks a little bit reddish to me, so I might go back and add a little bit of green. And you can kind of go back and forth until you feel like you've achieved something new. That could be possibly a black or a darker value. So there's a little exploration of the colors that your kit's capable of mixing. I'm sure there's a lot more, but let's go ahead and move on. So color value. Let's start talking about tints because in watercolors, when you're creating a tint, you're not mixing white into the watercolor. It's not like an acrylic or a tempera where if you're making a lighter value of your color, you would use white. With watercolors, you'd actually let the paper be the whites. So what that means is if you want a white spot in your painting, you got to make sure you don't paint in that spot and the paper is shining through. So to make your lightest values, I'm going to go ahead and start with blue. I'm going to get some pure blue here, put it in my tray, and I'm actually going to add a lot of water to it. You're making a wash. So I'm going to keep adding and adding and adding until I feel like I've washed out this hue or value or color till its lightest point. So there's a wash of that blue. Now I'm going to go to the darkest of this color, which is the pure color when I'm working with this tint scale. I'm going to go ahead and paint it over here. So this is what this color is completely by itself, without water, and being lightened up. So now you can kind of see where you're headed. Let's go ahead and add just a little bit of blue into our wash. So now you're going to try to make this wash slowly get darker and darker and darker, just so you can see all the different values that you can achieve with the use of water and color. It's a gradual transition, and sometimes you can even go back into an area and make it a little darker by adding a layer. There you go. So this is just really quick, just to kind of challenge yourself to see what's the lightest version of this color I can get, what is the pure color, what's in between. Let's go ahead and try doing a shade or a color mixed with black. I'm going to go ahead and use this green. I'm going to start with the pure version of it, straight out of the tray. And then I'm going to slowly mix black into that. So let's make our black. We need some black in our tray. So I'm going to get some magenta or red. It's kind of got a pinkish tone to it, so that's why I'm calling it magenta. I'm going to grab some green. Now, these two together might make a little bit of a brown. We could add a little bit of blue into that, a little bit of yellow, to kind of get the right darkness that you're looking for. So see how it kind of looks a little greenish? So what that just means is you might need to add some more of the opposite, which is red. So do a little bit at a time, just to kind of achieve that dark shade that you'll need to mix in with your green. So I think that's pretty close. It's dark, kind of like grayish, a little bit of a greenish in there, but that's okay. You're just trying to make this a shadow, like what you would see in a shadow. So now I'm going to mix. Let me get some green here. I'm actually going to make a green spot here that I can mix this black, our homemade black, into. So I'm going to keep picking this up and mix more into it. I'm actually going to make some more. And you can even layer right into that, mix right onto your paper. These three are kind of the same, so you can go back into it to kind of try to experiment to create different versions of that green. That's the main goal. So have fun experimenting with the different colors that you can achieve with your color sets, your different values using white, using your paper and washes as your white, and using complementary colors to kind of create shades or darker values of a color.